So the question is, when is a joke offensive?
Don't care.
I'll tell you in 3 words how to know when a joke is offensive. Know your audience. I did 24 years of morning radio, 15 of those in the same studio for the same company. And we had enormous ratings. We were pulling a 33 share at one point, and the next closest station had a 14.5. It was like a license to print money. Comedy was important to us. The spontaneous parts of radio are often the most funny. So funny that I kind of became known for that, to the point where they put up a billboard right before the rating period once, and for 2 weeks straight, all it read was, "We apologize." And the rest said, "For what Bill Elder said this morning, know your audience." I remember when I was going from WNEX, which is a little 1,000-watt local radio station, covered a couple of cities, to a radio station that covered half the state of Georgia that was 100,000 watts. And we had a discussion about which characters would come from the old radio show over to the new one. And they had a list. They knew them all. Just as it was important for me to know my audience, it was important for me to know that they knew the audience that they were also trying to reach, and that we all had the same goal in mind. The highest compliment is when people start calling your radio show and doing their own bits. I wonder if that meant our bits were that lousy. So there's this one guy, he called himself Roy Head. Roy Head was a recording star who had this one hit, "Treat Her Right." And he would call every Friday and had the most hysterical jokes. I never knew his name. I never knew who he was, but we always got the call.
Roy Head.
Roy, how's it going this morning?
A conversation between Jimmy Swaggart and Oral Roberts the other day. I heard Brother Swaggart, he asked Brother Roberts, he said, "Brother Roberts, do you think prostitutes can be saved?" And Brother Roberts looked at him and said, "Why, of course prostitutes can be saved." He said, "Well, good, I want 2 saved for me Saturday night."
We had a character named Richard Slimmons, and he would come in on Christmas Eve and do this one routine where we would start playing Tchaikovsky, and you hear him do the ballet around the room and drop to the floor. "Richard, are you all right?" And he delivers the punchline, "Now I know why they call it the Nutcracker." We've just delivered what could potentially be an offensive line, but it's not offensive because it's all in the context of the bit. He didn't say, "Oh my gosh, I've racked my balls," or "I cracked my nuts." He said, "No, now I know why they call it the Nutcracker." And this is the genius of comedy, where you can use words and imagination to make people think things that otherwise they wouldn't be thinking. And don't worry about the kids in the car. If you don't laugh, they're not going to think it's funny. The real test of people's patience came when we gave away a sports car one morning. That's right. People woke up and I said, "Good morning. We're giving away a Mazda RX-7 this morning to the 99th caller. Stand by. Don't go away." The president of Multimedia Radio Broadcasting just happened to be in the control room on this particular day, and in the next room is the program director. He's bleeding the phone calls. We started from 1 and go to 99. I make the announcement. The 99th caller gets a Mazda RX-7. Call now, call now, call now. I push the button and I say, 99 ways, you're caller number 99. And the guy on the other line says, "Hold on a second." You hear him put his hand over the telephone, and then you hear, "Hey, Joe, I just won the mother..." Ooh! The president of the broadcast division falls to the floor, and we say, "Oh crap, we're fired." It turns out he was laughing so hard he couldn't stand up. It's absolutely imperative that you know your audience and what they expect out of you. And when you go see Louis C.K. or Chris Rock or those kind of guys, you pretty well know what they're going to do. The same as when you go to see Bill Cosby, you know what he's going to do. And as the audience becomes accustomed to you, what becomes offensive is something that's so far off the beaten path that nobody saw that coming. And sometimes that can push the boundaries to a better place, but sometimes it'll lose you a listener or a fan. Thank you for watching.